right. I'm feeling psychedelic. Are you, Max? You feeling psychedelic?
Yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the psychedelia coursing through my veins, purple haze all through my mind.
Well, that's good because we have a psychedelic episode here. All right. It is time now for a very exciting interview. I'm super excited about this. This is with Paul Itoi of Sphinx Chat, and that is sphinx.chat. And where Max and I actually have an orange pill tribe going, and it's where we will be able to continue Renaissance 2.0, built on top of Layer 2.0, as we continue during the next phase of hyper Bitcoinization. So, Paul, can you explain to the audience what Sphinx.chat is, which you describe as a text application built on a payments protocol? To me, in my mind, that sounds like we're sending emails and having Telegram chat rooms over like Swift. So what are the benefits of building on a payments layer?
Yeah, so we use the Lightning Network, which is originally designed for sending payments. So you can send Satoshis instantly around the world for almost for free. And so we took the same system and allow you to actually insert text messages and send those over the Lightning Network. So to the Lightning Network, you can't tell if you're actually talking to someone or paying someone. You can do both interchangeably. So if we were doing this over Sphinx Chat, I could be sending you sats every minute as we talk. If Max says something particularly funny, I could hit the boost button and tip you 1,000 sats. Those are the kinds of things that you can do when you're communicating and paying at the same time. And what I think that quote that you mentioned before was that the original internet was designed to be a free use protocol. That was the whole benefit of it. But that brings on abuse and DDoSs and all the things that we've seen and spam. But when you actually communicate on a payment protocol, those protections are all built in. So you guys have a huge Telegram group. It's a constant battle of kind of policing everyone's behavior. I think 25,000 people or something like that. So that grows linearly. So your headache as the administrator grows with every additional person. You love 100 of them, but there's probably 1% of the people who are not good actors. And so with Sphinx Chat in your tribe, you can actually set the rules so that joining costs something. You have to have some skin in the game to get in the door. And then as you post, you actually stake a certain amount of Bitcoin. It could be 1/10 of a cent. It could be a penny. It could be 50 cents. But you as the admin, if you mark that as spam, the person who posted the message loses what they staked. So it's really the game dynamics of preventing bad behavior. And we're hoping this allows groups to scale to 50,000, 100,000, million without those headaches.
And it's interesting because that is the original cypherpunks when they were developing the predecessors to Bitcoin. What it was about was stopping spam.
Yes, exactly. I mean, we ripped off Hashcash. So this is Adam Back's Hashcash idea. It's just hard to apply that to a free protocol because you can leak around it, right? I'm just not going to choose to use that. And I'm not an expert on Hashcash, but whenever you try to shepherd some of the free traffic through a payment portal, entering your credit card information on a website, it never feels 100% natural. But with this, it's built in. You literally can't route around it. You can always require payment. And for users, it's frictionless. So you're not saying, hey, pull out your wallet and do all these things and enter a credit card number. It's just part of the Lightning Wallet functionality itself.
Right. Yeah. It's such a different model, right? Because we're getting in social media, we give them everything and we get nothing, right? So this reverses the model, right? So we're finally monetizing those interactions, and it just changes the whole dynamic, doesn't it?
You're not the product. That's the whole point. And if you are using a free product, someone is paying on your behalf, and those incentives aren't aligned. So what we really want to do is make it so that the content that you're seeing is intentional, and that you're actually you're basically in a place where other people are not trying to guide what you see.
Right. So let's talk about this value for value model. It's something that Adam Curry is always talking about. He, in fact, helped us get onto Sphinx Chat. And, you have quite a deep stack, right? What is available right now, the functionality available now, and what will be available in the future. It's amazing that you guys are just cypherpunk in the way you're just building it rather than doing a lot of the stuff you already provide were promised by all these ICOs that they were going to build on their shitcoin blockchain and they were going to build these functionalities, but you guys just did it, and it's built on top of Bitcoin, essentially on top of Lightning. So tell us about that value for value and what is in the actual stack of Sphinx Chat.
Yeah, so Adam, I mean, really just we were on the same thread and we didn't know it, but Adam was thinking about Lightning and doing deep research into Lightning. We had always looked at podcasting as a great medium to start with because podcasts are missing community. I listen to a podcast, but there's really no way to comment on it, right? I can't meet the other people who appreciate this content, and I can't interact with you as the host. I can just download it every time. And so if you listen to podcast hosts, it's, hey, hit subscribe or rate my podcast, right? But that doesn't really get you the community side of what people want these days, right? And to interact around this content. And so Adam's done, I think, an amazing job of building the ability for people to donate what they feel like is the value that matches what they're getting from the host. So this is a way to give back and get back as a host from all the people that you're influencing. So if you look at what we're doing with Sphinx Chat, when you play a podcast in the Sphinx Chat player, you can actually set from 0, you don't have to pay, up to say 100 sats a minute. And so every minute that you're consuming the content, you're actually putting Bitcoin instantly, minute by minute, into the creator's pocket. And I just love that model. And I've said it before, but it actually feels different to listen to a podcast when you know you're contributing back to the host. And so when I've switched back occasionally and listened to a podcast without contributing, you kind of have this, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. I'm actually taking without giving back. So I think it actually improves the experience.
Yeah, it's I guess it's pretty censorship resistant, right? I mean, even with Substack now, the censors have arrived and they're trying to shut down people like Matt Taibbi and others. And I think they went there thinking that they would be avoiding the censors, but this seems like it's somewhat censorship proof, Paul.
Yeah, if you can't get kicked off the Lightning Network, you can't get kicked off of Sphinx Chat. So you can install it and run it on your own node. Lots of people are doing it on Umbrel, Raspberry Pi Blitz, and my node. You open a channel and you're able to communicate with anyone else who's running the software.
So, like if Donald Trump were to create a tribe, and Rachel Maddow got very angry at this and started campaigning on MSNBC every night to have him taken off Sphinx Chat, is there anybody to contact that could possibly take him down? Is it that censorship resistant or what?
I can't think of a way. I was going to try to think of a joke. Maybe Ryan Gentry can kick him off, but I literally can't. If you can run a computer connected to the internet and even through Tor, then you can run a Lightning node. And if you can get your hands on some BTC, then you can play. So that's the way it works. It's pretty
Right.
good.
So you mentioned scaling earlier, and so it sounds like the scaling issues are not onersome, and you're tapping into the whole decentralization model. So it's scaling a decentralized network. That almost sounds like an oxymoron, but that's what Bitcoin has taught us, right? That a decentralized network can be scaled if you have number go up technology, because everybody's incentivized to do it. So those are the coattails that Sphinx Chat is riding, Paul?
Yeah, it really is, to me, the best use case for Lightning that I can find is I don't buy things that often. I communicate with people much more often. And so if you think about everyone who wants to chat on Sphinx Chat or join your tribe, they might not have anything that they really need to buy on the Lightning Network right now. There's stickers or certain things you can do that show off proof of concepts. But what if you really want to join in this fun and interact with people like yourselves on a tribe, then this is a motivator to go and get a my node, an Umbrel, or one of our hosted nodes. But if you're running that home node, you are running a Bitcoin full node, and you're running a Lightning node, and you're building the Lightning network out for the purposes of communicating. And so you can interact 100 times a day messaging people when you might only buy something once or twice a week. So this, I hope, will be a big motivator for people to run more full nodes.
Right. And as an admin, as you mentioned, of the Orange Pill Podcast Telegram group, we have 25,000 people in there. And we do have the scammers that come in, the high scammers. They send DMs to individual members and hope to steal their Bitcoin. Or we have trolls that jump in and, wave their weenie and hope to get some attention until they get kicked out. So you're saying basically you could just, you have a deposit that you can enable on the Sphinx chat. So if they want to do that, you're earning money. You kick them out, you keep their sats.
Feel free to misbehave, but it's going to cost you. So that misbehavior doesn't scale very well. The problem right now is you can bot something and do this all day long. Look at Twitter and all the scams. I mean, email was the original vehicle for all this stuff, right? Remember all the spam we used to get. And so this just makes it so that there's an economic disincentive. It's the free market for attention. Hey, you can try to abuse me, but I'm going to take your scarce asset from you. And you do this everywhere, you're not going to have your Bitcoin very long. And this isn't, you can't print more of these tokens and just use more. This isn't Chuck E. Cheese where I can just get more and just do it as much as I want. You're literally losing Bitcoin in real time. So I have a feeling that's going to be a big disincentive for people.
And of course, one quick thing, follow up on that is that you also could, as the admin, you could share the Satoshis that you're earning
100%.
from the trolls, because everybody's being abused by the trolls. So the troll enters the room and everybody's annoyed, but you get to share it, the booty, the bounty with everybody.
Yeah, people can. We're running a photo contest on a tribe right now called Sphinxtagram that Klaus started a while ago. So we're giving away 150,000 sats to someone who posts the best picture. And it's amazing. We're getting tons of pictures. People are just having fun with it. But that's me as a member offering a prize. People are posting pictures. It costs them 10 sats to enter the contest by posting the picture. The tribe owner's getting all of those sats for the people posting. And then I'm going to give this reward to someone on Friday, whoever has the best picture. So they get to kind of see that they're sharing. It's paying artists directly without an NFT or something like that. So we'll start small and lots of these things will blossom. We're excited to see how many creative uses people will come up with. You can do bots in these tribes. You can automate all sorts of things. There's a BTC price bot already. And so we'll make more and more of those types of tools, and hopefully more developers will jump in and start making them themselves.
Right. So when I look at an app like Clubhouse, that's really scaled pretty quickly. They've got some rooms with 1,000 or 5,000 people in there, and but that can be that's the goal, right? I mean, how hard would it be to scale to that level?
We can do it. We just it's right now we've had everyone on dedicated nodes, and then people are able to actually use a shared channel now. So you can actually have more and more users sharing the same channel, because there's only so much block space out there. If everyone had one channel and tried to onboard, you will have a huge bottleneck. And so one thing that we're testing on our end, we just released 3 weeks ago, and the testing's going great, and hopefully we'll be able to turn this on for everyone. You with a home Lightning node will be able to host your friends and family all moving through one channel off of your home node. So if they don't have their own Umbrel, they will be able to share someone else's Umbrel. I think it's a Matt Odell term, but it's the Uncle Jim model. So you're not necessarily validating everything yourself, but you're actually able to get on board right away. So, but Clubhouse specifically, if you guys look in your tribe on the upper right, you see that little phone icon up there? That icon is hooked up to an open source version of the same technology that runs behind Zoom and Clubhouse without the Chinese
so it's video
surveillance.
or audio. And so you could squeeze in how many people on that?
We don't know. We actually have just had 5 or 10 people on there, but people are playing with it right now. They hit a button and you're literally talking to people on the internet that you have no idea. They're just whoever's in that tribe. So, and there's a little tip button on there. I think it's only on iOS for now, but if you're talking to someone, you can actually sit there and tip them Satoshis during the call. So
it makes sense to migrate our Telegram group over to our Sphinx chat group.
Yeah, I mean, it looks a lot like it, but you could also, every participant can not only reward the admins, but they could reward the and tip. Like we get a lot of memes. People post brilliant memes of me and Max, and people could reward them, right? They could tip them.
You guys, your Telegram group has the best gift game I've ever seen. It's shockingly good. which is saying something out there on the internet. I'm going to go over to your tribe now, and I'll boost one of your comments, and I'll send back sats to this person, Toxic Bitcoiner, not to dox them, but
Okay,
that
cool.
sounds like a handle. Do you see it pop up? You'll see it
Yeah.
pop up,
Oh,
and
wow. It's
I'll
very
boost
generous. You
yours.
sent him over 1,000 sats.
And then here I was paused on I think it's, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Durgigi, I think. He just joined the
Durgigi,
Senki
yeah.
company. Durgigi, sorry, yeah. So I'm gonna do a quote on his uh, podcast episode, which he did with you guys recently.
Yeah.
So I just made a quote. And now if you play that clip, I get a couple sats for making a clip.
Coming back to what you said in the beginning with the difference between physical tokens
Isn't that cool?
and ledgers is exactly that the map is not.
Oh, wow.
So by annotating it for you and saying, hey, you guys have to listen to this clip, then I get a little bonus too, because I'm basically marketing a great part of your content.
Oh,
And this is what
man.
Adam's talking about with value for value. Why don't you kind of carve out the sats for your hosting provider or for your sound person or whatever it is, right? Or the people who are helping promote the podcast. So this value for value block that they support in podcasting 2.0 lets you basically codify smart contract, whatever you want to call it. You're just basically saying, hey, here's who I want to spread the value to. But these are the kinds of things you can do. These are all just the primitives. This is Internet 94-ish, right? So these are just the pieces that need to be put in place to let you interact with the people in a new way. So hopefully if you think about Lightning, it's digitizing incentives. The internet was about digitizing words. We're passing around words on the internet. It had a huge impact. Now we're actually digitizing human incentives and sending them around in real time, cross-border. This could be somebody in Indonesia boosting someone in Budapest. You're managing the tribe from some unknown citadel. It really doesn't matter, right? This is just real time for free Bitcoin flying around from person to person, changing people's behavior, hopefully for the better, but at least figuring it out. It's all for real in this thing.
Right. So this is another reason why people would want to have a home node, right? So having your own node in your home is really a very important part of this whole revolution. And up until now, right? So you can verify transactions. You've got a node, and that's super. And but it's not. It doesn't incentivize a lot of people to go out there and get a node. But this sounds like it's going to get a lot of people interested in getting a home node because it reminds me of throughout history there are certain technologies that come around for the home that change everything. Thinking about the sewing machine. People would save up for a long time and buy a sewing machine, and suddenly they've got a home factory going. Obviously, the personal computer with Steve Jobs' vision of we're going to put a computer in the home. And that at the time, people thought that was completely unnecessary, but it turned out to be revolutionary. So we're at the node, having your home node and hooking into the Bitcoin protocol is really the key adoption moment, I think, because with the Sphinx chat now, you're talking about two-way economics going on. Your node is profitable. You're connected to the community. All those ideas about individual sovereignty would tie into having a home node. If you don't have a home node, you're not really part of this revolution, Paul.
100% agree. And for me, the part that maybe people missed, and we just got onto this very early, was unless you can talk to each other, borderless, censorship proof, resistance, that's great for commerce. But how do I do that without being able to communicate? And if we're doing all this censorship resistant borderless commerce, if I have to go to phone or to SMS or to email or something to communicate, you're going out of band and losing a lot of the benefits of what the Bitcoin network does and what especially the Lightning network does. So having this home node and being able to communicate from it might be your own bank. It's sort of like be your own social network, right? Instead of if we were to draw the map of what social networks, okay, Facebook, the centralized systems, YouTube, we all picture it. And we're all spokes on your home phone attaching, and you're having to go through their permissions to see anything and to interact with anyone else, right? Now everyone is their own node, and you can choose through real channels or just adding someone as a contact in Sphinx chat who you want to interact with. I'm choosing to be in your tribe. I'm paying to be here. You're allowing me to be here. That's a link, right? I'm my own computer. You're your own computer, and we're choosing to interact on this peer-to-peer network. There's not someone in the middle. It's not Lightning Labs. It's not anyone who's saying, yes, you're allowed to be on this network. You're allowed to talk to this person, but you're not allowed to talk to this other person. So I I feel like it's the right model. And then being able to communicate text and communicate payment creates this huge, the traffic is this huge anonymity set. Did this person talk to these people or did they actually pay them? The packet looks the same, right? I can't tell. And there's millions and millions of messages happening, or billions happening around the world. But I picture millions of messages going over this system and no one has any idea what it is. It's just encrypted blobs moving around the Lightning Network.
Right. So you have an incentive. You are paying for the content,
Yep.
and people are going to be like, "Oh, that's cool because satoshis are fractional, and I can have fun with this. I can have." But the other incentive is the reason you would do that is because now you've got your home node, and now you're part of the network, and you in turn will get paid.
Yes.
Right. So my
Yep.
incentive is equally to consume content as well as getting paid for whatever content I come up with. And so that is very interesting in terms of creating an economy where the incentives are aligned in ways that I don't think we've ever seen it really before, because the structure of these economies is very Baroque, if you will. It's very clunky. It's very inefficient, and the incentives are horrible. And you see people gaming the system from the little bits of garbage spam you see on the internet, right up to major global banks, right? Everything and everything in between. All they do is game the system all day because the incentives are messed up, because the economy is poorly designed, because the incentives are wrong, and there's too much friction. So this seems like it just cuts through all that, Paul.
I hope so. We can cut the middleman out. What we just described, all of those perverse incentives are because they were able to insert themselves into the middle of the conversation because they had the servers and the code, which back in the 90s and 2000s, that was a special skill running the software firewalls. The servers themselves were all aggregated together. And then we all got used to this model that the big centralized system was needed, and we needed to trade our attention for their services. So that's the transaction that we all got caught in. And the person who paid the tab was willing to step up was the advertiser. So advertiser pays big centralized system. We pay with our attention. We receive back these services that we regarded as super specialized. Video is not specialized. Us talking over Zoom, we can do this ourselves. We don't need anyone helping us do these things. We don't need a bank to help us move Bitcoin to each other, right? And so this is taking the exact same mentality of be your own bank and to say be your own, literally be your own stack. And so this home node, what I'm hoping, if we can zoom forward a little bit, is that I naturally, and I think most people do, even if you're not, privacy is not top of mind every day, you feel the leakage of your personal information with every time you swipe your credit card. I just figured this out the other day and I'm stupid for it, but Google will autofill your credit card into a website when you pay. And I'm like, oh, that's so great. Thank you, Google. And it took me years to say, holy crap, they're recording every transaction, even if I'm not on Google. This is how they're getting all of my transaction data. I am autofilling with their damn card. Maybe they are, maybe not. But I feel like that was this. Always on guard. How am I leaking my information unintentionally to these centralized services? So what you said, Max, perverse incentives. They're trying to take, I'm trying to hold back. But if you actually have your own home node and you're training your Alexa is actually not Jeff Bezos running your Amazon device, you have a node that's your Alexa, your Jarvis. And you want this thing to actually get smart and know everything about what you're doing because you want this assistant to help you and be smarter about it. So AI doesn't, and machine learning doesn't have to run in these centralized systems. You can actually run these things on your phone, on your home node. And if you trained it with, hey, I want to do an on-chain transaction when the fees are the lowest, and this wallet is very smart about what you're doing, and it looks at the fee market on Sunday night. Those are the kinds of things I dream about, these channel opening assistants. If you could just loop out for me, that would be great. But I don't want Google knowing that. Hell no, right? I don't want Coinbase knowing my preferences. But my own home node, I am trying to feed it as much as I humanly can so it can help me. And we're not there yet, but that's where I see the home node thing going. And I hope that people install them because they want to do Sphinx chat and they want to be their own bank. But then down the road, you have people who build these tools, maybe us, maybe other people who are training these things. So,
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Just to digress a bit.
Sure.
We're hearing that there's a global chip shortage.
Yeah.
Is that true? And if so, what's going to happen?
Friends in automotive, my business partners in automotive, for sure, chip shortages are causing manufacturing lines to shut down. So I think that the hardware that we typically use in these situations are not as sought after as those. So it definitely is an uneven shortage, but kind of shocking, right? We've built this very efficient supply chain that turns out to be pretty brittle and vulnerable. So I hope that changes as well.
So going back
Someone
to that,
needs to come out with more hardware options. Go ahead.
So going back to that, the home node, the Sphinx Chat incentivizes that, and thus, again, there's another layer of incentivizing a good citizen, essentially a good citizen of the global community on the online on the internet, because owning and running a node is being a good Bitcoin citizen. And it's also, you're rewarded by being as powerful as somebody like Michael Saylor with 90,000 Bitcoin. You have a node, and you are just as powerful as he is with his 90,000 Bitcoin. But also, like, the fact that you obviously reward, talented, artistic, creative, funny, like, people who are more entertaining in a room, they're going to attract money and tips. People who are horrible and despicable and project all their inner, their self-loathing, they're going to have fun saying poor, because they're going to lose all their Bitcoin, right? This is the model you have set up here. But what about the worst for somebody like me and Max is the imposters. So what about imposter accounts? Like how does that get disincentivized, or has it yet happened?
It hasn't become a problem yet, but if you look at what Lightning wallets really are, is you have a public-private key pair with every client. So every bit of content that you send from your phone is encrypted before it leaves, and it can only be decrypted on your device. And so we haven't published this stuff yet, but the link between Stackwork, which is the for-profit side of what we do, and Sphinx, you can log in to websites using your Sphinx app because you're actually signing a private message back to the service. So in terms of identity, you want to know, has this been signed by the person who is associated with this public key? This is what everyone has wanted PGP to be. I haven't used PGP in maybe 10 years or something. It's been a very long time. But Signal, PGP, all the things that people are trying to get people to do actually needs to just be easier. And so Lightning has, and Sphinx already has this built in, where you can sign messages. Every time you send a message and receive one, you're actually signing and decrypting the messages. So it's absolutely built in where you can't fake your identity, and it's I think that's going to be a huge part. The interfaces and how to validate, is this person who's on Twitter the same person who's over here on Sphinx, needs to be built, but you could easily validate the same way Keybase does for stuff like that between services. So those are the kinds of things we need to build out. But I didn't want to skip your first thing, which is about earning, which is huge. The whole thing of it does get back to this value for value model, where you don't have to be a podcast host to be a creator and earn. You could literally write a bot that everybody likes and charge 1 sat per use of the bot. Now that's just someone who doesn't even have to be an advanced programmer, 12, 13-year-olds. It's the same syntax as the Discord bots. So that I feel like is just going to be a blossoming of functionality. I was on a basketball tribe on Sphinx, and we were talking about making a little betting bot where everyone in there is betting by hand on these games. Don't tell anyone. But why not make a bot that takes, hey, what game are you betting on? All right, go ahead and deposit 100 sats on this game or this particular score or whatever. And then it can even be manual in the beginning, but the admin could say, hey, this team won, and then distribute out the sats automatically. So this whole ability to talk and pay is cool.
So like a meme, like
Yep.
the Nigerian funeral meme that went global for 3 or 4 weeks. I mean, if the guy programmed it for just getting a few sats per play, that would have added up to big bucks.
Boom. Jim Patterson, who's a big influence on what we're doing, calls this the meme pool. So this is exactly kind of what NFTs are trying to do. But there's almost this GitHub actually is almost a perfect software for this. You have a tree of hashes. So the person who did the original meme is at the top. Someone modifies it and does something. We use the Bernie meme as an example. Bernie at the inauguration's all grumpy and sitting there. Someone took the original photo. Someone memed the hell out of that thing. And you just want to appreciate the whole chain, right? Whoever got that to you deserves
So the Merkle
millisats,
tree
right?
mimics the multi-level marketing
That's it.
tree, if you will. I mean, the multi-level marketing in itself is not wrong. I mean, it is an established model. The products tend to be kind of dodgy, like health supplements and things like that are usually associated with waste, not great products. But here with this Merkle tree multi-level marketing, you could take that meme, and you're saying all the additions to the meme and of course, that's adding another layer of interaction because people are interested to see all those iterations are also interesting, going back to the original. And so it actually expands the life of that entire idea. It becomes part of the cultural artifacts that people are interested in. And I was thinking to Stacy's point about, getting rid of the people who are seemingly incapable of interacting in a social context. I remember back in school, high school, we used to have something called civics class, where it was called civics class, and it was actually a class you would go to every day. And it was, you would be taught about civics, right? What is a civic good?
So you're saying, like, aside from taking their deposit on Sphinx chat, you could also, to get back in, if they want to come back in and behave, they would have to take a civics class and a bot.
Well, they would be learning through trial and error.
That would be great.
Usually what happens if somebody becomes an outcast, and then before you know it, they're shooting up smack and becoming serial killer. But here, it's okay. So they got bumped out. They lost their sats because they couldn't stop flatulating in the chat room. But suddenly they figured out how to control their sphincter, and they're back in the chat. So they become better citizens.
Yeah, because otherwise they have fun staying poor. Like, I guess one day you'll be able to set it per person. Like, if there's a person that's already been kicked out of 35 Bitcoin rooms, like if he wants to enter or she wants to enter your space, maybe you could charge 1,000 sats instead of like 100 sats. Do you know what I mean? Like, there could be a way to just set, like, if you're
right
a bad actor.
Well, now, to be clear, this is totally decentralized versus, let's say, the China version of the social credit score. Okay, there it's completely centralized and it's ideologically driven, and that would have deleterious impact. But here, because it's completely decentralized and there is no autonomous center to it all, then you have the magic of decentralization takes place. Would you agree with that, Paul?
Yeah, and I would just bring it back to this whole idea of freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, right? I have the right to say, I have a right to assemble with other people based on what we all want to hear and what we all want to say. And I would add to that freedom to earn. Just because you were born somewhere doesn't mean that you should be limited by poor currency, poor policies. Your municipality is not great at attracting businesses. You just happen to be born there. That's kind of, if you can sort of even that playing field, then I think that'll make the world a more interesting place.
Well, I'm super excited by this, and make sure to join our tribe. I'll put the QR code on screen if that works, and it's in our Telegram room. But make sure, because it took me quite a while to figure this out. I went to Sphinx.chat. I went to point number 1. They say download the Sphinx Chat app from the App Store. I did that. And then I started trying to use it and forget like reading the instructions. And it took me weeks and weeks and weeks to realize that in order to join a tribe, I actually needed to take step 2, which is the server bit. So yeah, I think a lot of people, based on the feedback I get, like I'll send our QR code out on Twitter and say, join our tribe. And they get that same error where they skipped step 2.
The setup, yeah, we don't make it easy. We don't make it easy. I'm going to fully admit that.
Thank
So,
God.
but we will make it easier over time. That's for sure. But and thank you guys for being early adopters on this. We really appreciate just orange pilling so many people. I think I saw your pinned tweet from 2011. I'm going, oh my God, that's amazing. So, yeah, it's amazing. But this hopefully will be the new platform, and people who feel like, hey, I wish I had figured out this other platform. You have to be willing to start when it's 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, and just do it. Just show up, just like you guys do. And that's pretty awesome. I love it.
Yeah, you should really follow up with Sphinx Chat and Paul and what they're doing, because we didn't have time to get into it today, but there's that whole stack phone coming where you'll never have a digital footprint. There's like this next generation are going to be so lucky, the Generation Z coming on, before they even get a digital footprint tracking everything and tying it to them. It's a new form of freedom that you're offering with your technology you're offering.
I'd love to come back and talk about it. I figured we were covering enough here to not bring up everything, but yeah, that'd be fun to talk about.
Yeah, we'll do a follow-up. This is Cypherpunk.